Hello again, and welcome to FP&A Done Right. I'm Olivia, and as always, I'm delighted to be joined by Ryan. Today we're getting into something that honestly makes or breaks a finance transformation. Execution. Not dashboards, not PowerPoints, but actually turning plans into reality.
Absolutely, Olivia. And let's just put it out there. Even with stellar strategy, most organizations stumble right at the finish line. Execution. I think it was Workday that reported, 63% of CEOs think execution is just too darn slow?
That's right. And even more concerning, fewer than 1 in 5 executives feel genuinely ready to pivot when something unexpected happens. That's an abysmally low number given how fast things are shifting these days. You blink, and the market's changed.
Yeah, and honestly, I've been in those boardrooms where everyone's nodding along with a well-crafted deck, but the moment someone says, okay, how are we making this happen, the room kind of freezes. And I'll admit, early in my finance career, I was one of the folks thinking, I'll just stay over here in the spreadsheets.
But that whole mindset is changing, and has to. We're seeing finance teams step out of that scorekeeper mentality. Instead of just reporting what's happened, they're expected to be right there at the table driving outcomes. Curiously, this evolution, from reporting towards active participation in business, means we now have a seat at the table when decisions are made, not just when they're summarized.
Exactly. And it's not just a cultural preference, it's becoming a business necessity. When I led a digital transformation for a Fortune 500, our old process was just cranking out reports. By the time leadership had them, things already changed. But moving to real-time reporting, we actually gave folks the ability to act while the information was still fresh. It was like shifting from huddling over a playbook after the game to calling audibles mid-drive. That's where the agility kicks in.
It's a big shift, right? Execution has become the real metric for whether all our transformation projects, digital or otherwise, are actually paying off. And the numbers tell us we have a long way to go, but also that the future role of finance is so much more dynamic than it was even 5 years ago.
Let's get into what this looks like on the ground. Because, stories stick better than spreadsheets sometimes. One of my favorites is the Texans credit union story. They used to do all their budgeting and scenario planning in, you guessed it, spreadsheets. When someone in senior management asked, what happens if interest rates move by 0.5%? It was a trip back to the desk and, I'll get back to you next week.
The pain of, I'll get back to you. Been there too many times. That changed entirely for a credit union with Workday Adaptive Planning. Suddenly, their CFO could literally click a few buttons in a meeting, run the scenario live, and everyone gets an answer in real time. And the trickle-down of that? Faster decisions, branch-level visibility, and fewer silos.
Spot on. That move gave them a single source of truth across all branches. Now it's just, here's the answer, right now. And they're spending more time on strategic discussions, less time wrangling messy files. But it's not just credit unions. Remember that biotech company? They used to battle Excel errors and recalcitrant formulas, just trying to reconcile payroll data across countries. Now they've automated all that, and more importantly, freed up time to actually analyze the data instead of just compiling it.
Right, the biotech said their finance work was like night and day after implementation. Less manual work, more time for value-added analysis. And it's not only because of the tech. It's about how easy it became to spot cash flow issues or opportunities and respond in real time. Let's also talk about a business in home construction. They moved away from consolidating spreadsheets for dozens of projects, which used to eat up, 10 to 15 hours just to get the latest numbers?
Yeah, and now they do the same work in about 4 hours, with integrated reports spanning not just finance, but project and loan management. It's like having instant visibility at the project level, which is essential with building timelines and fluctuating costs. They even tied in cash flow modeling with project milestones and bank loan draws. So leaders aren't just staring at a static plan, they can see risk coming before it bites.
This all reminds me of one of my more competitive board game nights. Bear with me, Ryan. Where the team who won wasn't the one with the strongest start, but the one who could adjust their plans as things evolved across multiple layers. In finance, it's layered planning and real-time feedback that's mirroring those victories. Technology is just the enabler. The mindset and process make the difference.
So the common theme, whether it's a credit union, biotech, or home builder, is that execution demands both real-time visibility and business agility. If you're still wrestling with static reports and reactive models, you're at a significant disadvantage.
Completely agree. And what's striking is how these organizations shifted finance from being a cost center buried in admin work to a driver of tangible business outcomes. That's what transformation looks like in practice, not in slide decks. Let's dig into how these companies, and others, make that leap from insight to action. Continuous planning comes up everywhere now, versus those traditional, static, annual plans. According to Bark and Workday, 80% of organizations see more value in dynamic forecasts than sticking to those old annual budgets, which are usually obsolete before the ink's even dry.
I mean, traditional plans are like making a football playbook in the summer and then refusing to call any new plays, even when it snows in November. With rolling forecasts and continuous planning, you're updating your approach as conditions change. It makes scenario planning a real living process, not some annual set it and forget it.
Absolutely. The framework that keeps coming up is this agility loop, a recurring cycle of plan, execute, measure, adjust. The AFP actually recommends this as the backbone for navigating change. But it's not just about speed. Integrated technology ensures that planners and operators share a single, real-time view, breaking down those classic finance versus operations silos.
Yeah, and let's talk about upskilling. Because even the best planning system won't help if the team isn't able to interpret data quickly or build bridges to other functions. 88% of Workday Adaptive Planning customers say finance is now seen as more strategic, which means teams need more data literacy, business partnering chops, and frankly, comfort with ambiguity.
It's so true. The cultural shift is almost as big as the technology upgrade. Finance teams have to move beyond scorekeeping and become strategic partners, getting cozy with digital tools, collaborating up and down the org, and being ready to adjust as fresh data comes in. And sometimes that means developing new habits and learning to challenge the old status quo. I still triple-check my formulas just in case, but now I'm looking at how to immediately act on the outputs, not just confirm the math.
Love it. It's about embedding yourself in the action, being proactive, and not just waiting for someone to ask you for a breakdown. Quick scenario modeling, dynamic forecasting. That's what closes the gap between strategy and real-world outcomes. So, if you're listening to this thinking, where do I even start? Start by leaning into continuous planning, prioritizing scenario analysis, and, maybe most importantly, building real cross-functional partnerships.
That's the crux. None of this is hypothetical. We're seeing the payoff in faster, more confident decisions, better forecasting, and tangible business agility all around. Finance is driving the bus now, not just announcing the stops after the fact.
All right, that's a wrap for this episode. If you want to go deeper, check out Revelwood's client stories or the latest Workday Adaptive Planning resources. We'll link them in the show notes. And don't miss our next episode, where we'll explore storytelling as a superpower in finance. Olivia, always a pleasure riffing with you.
Thanks, Ryan. Loved every minute. To everyone listening, keep driving execution, not just analysis. See you next time.
Take care, everyone, and goodbye till the next one.